Sixers win it! Wow!
Oh, man, Embiid just posterized Russell Westbrook.
You love the Philadelphia Eagles! Let me get a hell yeah!
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of Party on Broad. If you guys love the Sixers, if you love the NBA draft, give this video a like. Be sure to subscribe. Today, we are breaking a shot creator, a guy that shows tons of flashes with an incredibly high ceiling, and that man is Cam Thomas out of LSU. Joining me to break him down is my man, Tiago. Give him a follow on Twitter at TScabby. Good morning, Tiago.
Morning, Chris. We're back doing this once again, fresh off a big-time Sixers win, Game 6 against Atlanta. So excited to be talking more and more prospects as we land on the NBA draft coming up next month.
Yep, next man up mentality, man. When Ben Simmons is on hiatus on the bench in foul trouble, Tyrese Maxey steps up and delivers his best performance as a Philadelphia 76er. You can never have enough shot creators, and let's talk about Cam Thomas. Tiago, break him down.
So it's funny you mentioned the name Ben Simmons because the one thing that's pretty clear with Ben Simmons is the fact that he doesn't shoot the ball, right? Cam Thomas is not that player. Cam Thomas is going to shoot, and then when he's tired of shooting, he's going to shoot the ball a little bit more. He's a guy who took 28% of LSU shots last year, which is a absurd amount of shooting that came out of his hands last year. 19-year-old kid, so freshman, very, very raw, very, very young. And again, LSU really relied on him to do a lot of their offense. The question that I have is, and we can talk about this in the podcast, is how much of that shooting actually translates into winning. Because, you watch LSU, and I'll take a perfect example, the game where he went for 28 points against Michigan. I mean, first half, he's going shot for shot with the Wolverines, and they're in the game. Second half, they kind of go cold, kind of go stale, and there's not much else that comes out of his hands in terms of playmaking. So that's really what we have to figure out with Cam Thomas because at 19 years old, there's high potential as a shot creator, shot maker. He's got great size, great length. So all those things are very exciting as a player, but the key thing here, we can talk about strengths and weaknesses, is, how much of this can that be translated into the NBA court and really drive wins at the NBA level? That's really going to be the key.
All right, let's move on to strengths for Cam Thomas. Clearly, shot creation is, what screams off the tape. That pull-up off the dribble that he's got there is ridiculous. I like how he can get to the basket at ease. He can hit difficult shots. He can take off from anywhere. He can get to the free throw line. So this is an offensive weapon. Tiago, any other strengths of Cam Thomas?
Yes, I think there's a lot there. First, and I kind of mentioned it, he's at 6'4", 210, and a phenomenal 6'8" wingspan, and 19 years old. And if you look at his body, it's an NBA level body, strong core, wide shoulders. There's great opportunity for him to develop into more, athlete, not athlete, but more NBA body, which is exciting because when you talk about finishing through contact, finishing at the rim, fighting through screens, all those things are going to require strength, and it's going to require for him to become a stronger player at the next level. He's already a pretty strong player now, but so that part of it is exciting. And it's really around, his shot making profile at that size. So you mentioned it, Chris, like on the ball, he's got a great kind of step back and create a little separation with his first step. He draws contact. He kind of thrives off that ability to fight through contact, but only that, draw contact and get to the free throw line. He took 7 plus free throw attempts last year for a guard, which is a pretty big number. And it's really what I really think it's exciting is the fact that, again, he's not a great athlete. He's a little bit deliberate, linear, and he's not very explosive. But he's got a tight handle, and at that size, he can be a guy that can really exploit mismatches out on the perimeter. So perhaps you draw, a small forward on him or something. That kind of situation presents very well for Thomas at the next level. So for me to be able to really, you see it right there, the range is absurd. I mean, the confidence levels out off the roof, but I think where he's going to get those wins at the NBA is really attacking mismatches, creating for himself, and kind of staying within that framework of offense in the half court.
All right, so that's his strengths. Clearly, one of the highest volume shooters in the draft class, one of the best scoring packages in the draft class. But let's move on to weaknesses. Tiago, you touched on it. Shot selection. Clearly, this is like the first thing that NBA coaches are going to approach to him when he hits an NBA court. Defensively, he kind of looks lost. He gambles on a lot. Tiago, what are some of your weaknesses that you saw on Cam Thomas?
Yeah, I mean, if the shot selection doesn't get harnessed pretty quickly, I can't see how he's going to make much of a name for teams that are, looking to win. If you're going to play for whatever the Cleveland Cavaliers, they could care less what kind of shot you're taking right now. But not with the Sixers. That's what this podcast is about. Again, we talked about defense. For me, it's an energy thing more than anything else. I mean, he plays. He's very disconnected sometimes. It's like he's just sleeping through the defense. He's not really paying attention. Very disconnected from shooters. Doesn't really recognize switches. So I think part of it is, and a big part of it, I think, is the defensive energy. And that's going to have to change. The way that he closes out at the perimeter is pretty bad. I mean, just kind of like throws his body out there. It's not very engaged. And then, again, athleticism is something that I'm a little bit concerned. It doesn't really stand out. And you're talking about creating in the perimeter against quicker. Think about, for instance, him going up against a guy like Mikal Bridges. He may have trouble getting those step backs, getting that separation. So can he become a player that, and that's something I'm really interested to see, is when because he has shooting gravity out in the perimeter, right? Teams are going to have to recognize the ability to shoot from the three-point line. So that will draw in gravity. So the question I have for him, and that's something that's not done at LSU, is when that takes place, can he make that extra pass to that extra open guy cutting to the basket, or that extra guy in the corner, right, to get that most valuable shot out of your offense? And that's something you do not see at LSU. And I think part of it is the fact that LSU is very ISO-centric in their scheme. It's like my guy versus your guy, then my guy versus your guy kind of thing. I'm hoping that his structure around them will draw more out of his game. But as of today, I have very little faith that he can be that player. I think he's going to be the kind of guy, like when the double comes, he's like, okay, great, now I'm going to shoot over two guys instead of one. So that's really my concerns with Cam.
Yeah, you touched on it. That was going to kind of be look at that range, man.
It's insane, dude.
Wow. Steph Curry land. Passing. Clearly, like you touched on, that was really interesting about LSU running an ISO-heavy offensive scheme. But that potential in the pick and roll and his passing, that's my focus as he gets ready for the NBA draft. How he is able to facilitate in the pick and roll, because he's never done it. He's not a facilitator. He needs to stop playing hero ball. So during that, those individual workouts, during the combine, like, I want to see how this kid operates and how much he has soaked up in that time span, because how he's able to be a more efficient scorer in the pick and roll is going to be so important as he develops in the G League for the first year or so.
Yeah.
Let's go on to Fitz with the Philadelphia 76ers. Like we said at the beginning of the show, you look at Tyrese Maxey, bam, bam, bam in Game 6. Came in, made an instant impact because of his ability to create, because of his ability to get his shot, to pull up. What's your take on this guy's fit with the Sixers, Tiago?
Yeah, so from a fit perspective, I really like, and I talked about this, ability to really draw attention in the perimeter. And if you think about, he's not JJ Redick, right? JJ Redick's so much more explosive, linear athlete in terms of speed and ability to create or shoot off motion. But one of the things that JJ Redick brought a lot to the Sixers offense from that perimeter gravity is, again, space for Embiid and Simmons. So play, for instance, like a simple dribble handoff, right? Now you got two guys flying at Cam Thomas. And that means, either Joel or Ben just dive to the basket and get an easy bucket. That's the type of fit that I think Cam Thomas can bring to this offense. Again, Cam Thomas is never going to be a 30% usage on-ball player with the Sixers. So he's going to have to kind of sacrifice part of that in his game to be a player with Philadelphia. If he's able to do that and still be, a solid outside shooter with some playmaking ability like Tyrese Maxey, then I think you got a great fit with Philadelphia because, and again, at 19, there's a lot to work with there from an NBA, perspective. So that's what I'm looking at with the Sixers. I think as we're trending here towards, the NBA playoffs, the more you watch Philadelphia, you just get a sense that, they're going to do something, man. They're going to do something, whether through Tobias, through Ben, through both, through neither. Just when you watch your offense, they're going to do something. So, having a guy like Cam, that can first come off your bench and get you some buckets and perhaps even work with some of your starters, that could be very valuable for the team moving forward.
Yep. And you look at the, Doc Rivers offense, which has completely gone stale the last few games. Like, it's truly just everyone stand and watch and let Joel do it. That can happen. But this is a guy that could fit in that kind of offense, I guess, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, for Doc Rivers' offense, I mean, Doc is looking exactly for that type of player. Doc, I mean, you touched on it perfectly quick. Doc is a give my best guy the ball and get out of the way kind of coaching. I don't necessarily think it's the best way to optimize your roster. But he's looking at, listen, the NBA playoffs about shot making. And if you're talking about shot making, I mean, in college basketball last year, I wouldn't say it was 100% consistent, but in terms of, on-ball shot making, Cam Thomas was the very top of that list. So, I think this guy fits a Doc Rivers type offense very well. Again, I'm not sure it's the best way to optimize your talent, but I guess we'll wait and see once the playoff seasons are done and once the draft comes around.
All right, that is my man Tiago. Please be sure to give him a follow on Twitter at @tscabbia. Tiago, anything you want to shout out during our final bout here?
Just my sanity watching the Sixers. We'll continue to do these throughout the playoffs, and then hopefully the NBA combines next week. So we have some more data on some of these guys we're talking about in terms of what their athleticism looks like, which is very valuable piece of information to project moving forward.
Awesome. We've done at least 20 of these scouting reports now. So if you love the Sixers in the NBA draft, be sure to subscribe to the Painted Lines YouTube channel and just go into Party on Broad or NBA draft playlists. They're all there. All of our scouting reports, all of our highlight reels with stats and why they fit with the Sixers. Make sure you follow my man Tiago on Twitter at @tscabbia. Make sure you give this video a like for Tiago, for myself. Thanks for watching. Stay awesome.
Sixers win it! Wow! Oh, man, Embiid just posterized Russell Westbrook.
You love the Philadelphia Eagles. Let me get a